What's up guys, Jake Lowry here, and today we are very excited because we are going to be testing out the mother of all mystery tackle boxes. I am actually slightly concerned because I did drop like $60 on this tackle box, and my more recent reviews of mystery tackle boxes have been honestly overall very negative. Now that said, I'm curious to see how the Motherlode mystery tackle box stands up to those other tackle boxes, and overall we're gonna see if we can catch some big fish on a $60 tackle box where you have no control over what lures come in it. We are at one of my confidence bass fishing spots that I know is loaded with big fish and loaded with a lot of fish, so that should be very, very helpful for today. We are fishing early spring / middle springtime conditions here in Texas. The weather is going to be absolutely beautiful, and I think we are in for a serious fun day of fishing. Now right below me guys, I am seeing fish jump. So I don't want to get too into the conditions. I don't want to get too into the strategies that we're going to be using today. I think we should just get into that box and see if that thing is really worth the money. Okay guys, I have the Motherlode mystery tackle box ready to open. I'm very curious to see what this thing is like, and I'm only very excited to get this thing tested out. So why don't we get this open and see what we got in here. As you could tell, this thing actually has quite a bit of baits in it. I'm generally surprised by the number of baits, but you know, I was honestly hoping that it would be more full because they give you such a big box, and I'm not really sure that you're getting your full value's worth out of this box. And I already see a couple things that I've gotten in a mystery tackle box before, so again, a little concerning guys. We're looking for different baits, we're looking for things that we haven't tried before, and to be honest, it all looks pretty much the same. So the first thing that we have in the box right here is a red large build crankbait. This thing looks like it dives to 3.5 to 6.5 feet. So this is actually going to work pretty well with these early springtime conditions. And again, 100% have gotten this in a mystery tackle box before, so slight disappointment. Okay, the next thing is a Westin floating. It looks like a spin turbo, but this is essentially a whopper plopper style bait in a purple and pink color. Very interesting color, but I'm not sure that topwater is actually going to be the strategy today. So again, I think this is one of the more higher quality baits in the box, and I'm pretty excited to test it out, but also relatively curious as to what this thing has and what this action of this thing is. Okay, next thing is a Googan Hummer. Again, sensing an interesting pattern here that they're kind of going towards more summertime baits, but that said, I have used these in the past and they're like okay to mediocre buzz baits. They're not the best buzz baits that I've ever used, but again guys, I think this thing is going to probably work fairly well, and hopefully those fish are on a topwater bite and they're a little more active than I'm anticipating, because right now we probably don't have too many tactics that we can use so far. Next thing that I think is going to be a solid choice for today is an Xcite Baits dives 2 to 5 feet square bill crankbait, and this is in a bluegill color, so very effective color for a lake that holds a lot of bluegill and smaller forage and doesn't have a ton of shad in it. Thoroughly impressed with this one so far. I'm curious to see what the number is going to be on all of these baits. These used to come with a little pamphlet that tells you how much everything costs, but I'm not sure if this one has it. So we're not looking like we've spent a crazy amount of money on all these baits so far, so stay tuned to the end and then maybe we'll add it up and see. Next thing is a Eurotackle Finesse. Looks like a Metacraw. This is probably going to be a great little jig trailer. I could see a jig further on into the box, and I'm actually going to take that out next. But again, this is in a black and blue color, just relatively standard jig color, and looks kind of solid. Okay, so the jig that I was talking about is actually a swim jig. I have used swim jigs in this spot before and have had pretty good success with it. Actually, I think some of the bigger fish out of this lake I've caught on swim jigs, and it is a great strategy for early springtime when those fish are eating bait fish and there's a lot of grass. So not terribly unimpressed by this, but curious to see what I'm going to pair this up with, because swim jigs do need trailers, and I don't think I see any trailers in this box. Okay, next one is probably what we're going to have to pair the swim jig up with is this Zuchi Bug. I've gotten these in more mystery tackle boxes than I can count, and I've never caught a fish on them. They look like they have a ton of appendages, but to be honest, guys, I just don't feel like these things really catch a lot of fish. You could prove me wrong, but for me, it's not a confidence bait and another disappointment to get in this mystery tackle box. Okay, so probably the best bait of the box is a green and chartreuse 3/8 ounce Phenix jig. This thing looks like it's going to be perfect for what we're going to be wanting to do today, and probably the first lure we're going to tie on. We could fish this shallow, we could fish it deep, we can fish it swimming, we could fish it on the bottom. So probably going to pair this up with that crawdad style soft plastic, and hopefully we have a deadly combo that catches those early springtime fish. And then the last thing is probably where they got their price point from, but more or less a gimmick bait, is this live target Sunfish. I have tried these before. I have not had any success with these. This one's a little smaller. The issues that I had was hook setting, and it looks like maybe that might be resolved with the size of this, but to be honest, guys, slightly disappointing that we're going to be doing early springtime fishing and I got 3 or 4 topwater baits. That is not a great option, and topwater baits probably don't sell as good as some of the other styles of baits that Mystery Tackle Box has. So that's probably why they threw them in here. Definitely the ratio is off to topwater baits to other style of baits like crankbaits and jigs, and maybe even just soft plastics in general. That is probably going to make us struggle today. And again, I guess we're gonna have to give it a try, and I think there's one more thing in the bottom of this, so why don't we grab that and see what we have left. Okay, so the last thing is a classics. They always throw hooks into the bottom of these things. Probably not something to get the price up, but something to actually allow you to fish with it. And again, I don't really have a bait other than that weird bug looking thing that I can use hooks on. These are relatively useful, and I can throw them in my terminal tackle box, and over time you develop quite a plethora of hooks. Looks like we got a sticker as always, and then some fishing tips and tricks. So I'm not really sure what the total price point of these are. I will go through that during the editing process of this video, add it all up, and we'll see if we got any value out of it. We're gonna look at the sale price of these things, where we can find it the cheapest online, and then add them up, because a lot of times these lures have high retail prices but they don't sell, so they put the retail price in the mystery tackle box, but the sale price is actually the market value of these things. That said, I'm actually pretty excited to go fishing today. I think there are a couple baits that are going to work very well at this spot, so why don't we go get the kayak launched in the water, get the rod set up with a couple of these baits, and start fishing, guys, because I am very, very excited. All right, guys, one last thing before we start fishing. If you guys like this video, make sure you like the video and then subscribe if you haven't. We are on our way to 14,000 subscribers, so very, very pleased with that. Or make sure you like this video. It tells me that I am doing a good job. And now let's cut it to the fishing. All right, guys, we are actually all set up to get the kayak launched. I got my rods rigged up. I'm going to show you what I chose to use first. The first setup I have is my Googan Squad muscle rod, and I have that red big lipped crankbait. This thing dives to 3.5 to 6.5 feet. Should be perfect for pre-spawn bass fishing. Pretty excited to actually use this, and hopefully I can avoid the grass and weeds in this pond. And then the next thing I have is my spinning rod. This is actually a new spinning rod I picked up, a Lew's Laser SG-1 speed stick, and I just put that jig on there with that mini black and blue crawl trailer. Again, if I see something on a bed, or if I'm in a little deeper water than 6.5 feet, I have the flexibility to just throw that jig in there, and hopefully we could start catching fish. So again, with the current setup I have, feeling pretty good. Not feeling great about the price point that I paid for the box today, but I think we should be pretty solid. We also have the sonar set off, tethered off the back of the kayak, that we're going to set up once we launch, and hopefully that'll help us catch some fish in this lake. I've never actually used this sonar before in this lake, so I'm curious to see what the depths and stuff are, but that's pretty standard. Why don't I get my car keys put up and let's get this thing launched, man. There are a couple of boats on the lake today as well, which is kind of annoying, especially for the time of year and the weather, but essentially as soon as that weather gets good, the people come out and it's fishing season, which means there's gonna be people. Let's get this thing thrown off the back of here and then launch this. All right, and we are off. So, well, not quite. All right, now we are off. So there's a boat in front of me and there's a boat up this arm, which means I can either fish to the right or to the left. Why don't we fish to the left here? That's usually where I get the most bites. We are actually already spotting fish. So why don't we stop right here and get that jig thrown out here and see if maybe we can catch a couple fish. There's a swimming area. I was seeing fish jump on that swimming area, and I'm hoping that we can end up hooking some fish on this new rod too, guys, because sometimes new rods are good luck and sometimes new rods are bad luck. The water clarity today is actually way more murky than I'm used to seeing this lake. I think we've had just a couple big rainstorms that really did us dirty with the water clarity, and you know, might actually not work in our favor. Ow, man, that hurt. I'm gonna give this crankbait a shot through this little point area. It looks like those fish were on bait that were out here deeper, so I think the crankbait might actually work towards that advantage over that jig, but you know, we're gonna see. Hopefully this thing sinks pretty good. I have a little, probably too heavy line on this muscle rod for getting optimal depth out of this crankbait, but that might help me if we are fishing shallow water today. And you know, we can always make some modifications or try something that might be a little more orientated towards some deeper water. This bank with these laydowns to my left of me is usually the most productive in this spot. So if we just follow this, you know, wind line and go down this bank, we probably will, you know, get some activity here pretty shortly. Grass. Whoa, ton of grass. Come on. Come on. All right, guys, I'm just getting grass every cast pretty much now, which tells me there's probably one lure I should put on, and that is that little swim jig that came in the box. So I'm actually gonna keep this on, and the swim jig is gonna go on the bait caster. And hopefully we can find just a little bit of success so far, because right now we're getting into a lot shallower water, and I think we're gonna need to cover water today because of this murky water, and I also think we're gonna need to throw a moving bait. We're gonna go with this Xcite Swing Impact Fatty. All right, I feel actually way more confident in a swim jig right now than I do in probably any other bait that was in that box. If I get this thing in the shallow grass, I think we probably are going to have an absolutely fantastic fishing session. Perfect. One day I will catch a fish. I will catch one. One day the fish I will catch will be a monster. That's a good cast right there. Come on. If I'm a 10-pounder, I'm sitting right there. Come on. Oh. Nobody knows if I can catch a fish. Of course, first confirmed bite. That thing ate it super aggressively, man. Dang it. That was a nice fish too, guys. Not a huge one, but you know, definitely a fish we'd want to come back. Came right out of this grass. Man. First confirmed bite today, guys. Oh boy, does that feel good. Maybe we're in the right spot. I think I had it like in the grass and I kind of just like pulled it right through that grass, and that thing came out of nowhere and demolished it. Come on, come back. Finally. Oh my gosh. It's okay. It was small. It was small. But it's one of those days, man. 2 bites. We're definitely picking up some activity back where it's shallow. So maybe I need to go up the other little creek arm too. But that's a good sign, guys. Literally, as soon as we get back to where those boats can't get back to, we start getting bites. I think it's worth it if I can do it. All right, let's see here, guys. Okay, so I think the strategy is to go full blast at this thing. And we'll see where it takes us. Back up. Okay, ready? Ready. Maybe get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was dumb. That was dumb. Oh yeah. Whew. Like I didn't even have to try. I can tell you that. No one did that today. We are in some of the most prime bass fishing holes that I think I've ever been in, guys. Look at that. Way up in there. Middle of the day. Sun is out. It is warm. Will the fish eat topwater? We are going to find out. I'm also curious as to see what the action of this thing is like, because if it's fairly decent, this could be a good option for plopping style baits. There we go. Action of this thing is actually pretty solid. Seems like it gets fouled up on some stuff, but I mean, relative to the other things, this little pink bait seems very, very solid. Honestly, I might even add this to my topwater plethora. This thing has a great plopping action. It makes a lot of noise, leaves a nice bubble trail. Pretty much everything you would want in a whopper plopper, kind of in a more compact style. And I am also going to lose this thing if I cast it like that. Oh my gosh. Of course. I was talking crap on the talking crap on the topwater lures, man, and immediately, pretty much immediately get a nice blow up on it. That is absurd, guys. I was just using the wrong thing the whole time. Fast! Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, come on. Oh. Oh shit. I was very lucky that that thing floated, because I would have not noticed that at all. Come here. Come here. Look at that. Who knew? Soft plastic bags float. Whew. Jesus, guys, that was a little chaotic. Hit the log, bag fell off. Almost lost literally all of my soft plastics in one go. That would have been pretty annoying, but we are finally over that, out of the area that, you know, we could potentially have gotten stuck in. Well, not stuck, but would have had the portage out of. And I'm gonna throw this topwater back through this area too, because I threw the swim jig in that exact spot and didn't get any bites, and I threw the topwater in here and it got immediately smashed. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the video. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch any fish today, and to be honest, guys, I don't think that tackle box was really worth this $60 price point. That said, we had a pretty solid day of fishing, and I think overall we are definitely going to come back to the spot at some point in the spring, and hopefully not too long we end up coming back here and doing great. I think the water quality, I think the cold water, I think the bad baits just all combined together to make it a very, very tough day of fishing, along with the high pressure. I mean, there was more fishermen out on this spot than I think I've ever seen before. Now, that said, make sure if you guys like this video, you like the video, and then also subscribe if you haven't. It tells me that I'm doing a good job, and then we should continue to make these videos. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna catch you next time.